As Glenn said, my name is Randall Myers. I'm the spiritual counselor here at Hospice. I just wanted to take this moment to share a few thoughts about the idea of why we even have a memorial service. What is this idea of memory? So just to begin, I wanted to recall the first line of that song that Glenn and I just sang. Some of you know it by heart, probably. Looking back on the memories of the dance we shared beneath the stars above. Memories are a core part of what it means to be human. They evoke smiles, they evoke tears, they can bring back pain, stress, anxiety. They can instill fear, happiness, and courage. For better or for worse, memory and the act of remembering is something that's hardwired into our existence from the point of birth on. We rely on this function of our brain on a daily basis. Whether we remember that we have to go to the grocery store after work today, whether we remember that we need to pick the kids up from school, we remember that we need to brush our teeth before we go to bed. We use our memories to protect ourselves from going back into dangerous situations. Maybe you've said it like me, I'll never do that again. We remember in order to comfort ourselves or to give ourselves a sense of purpose, a sense of why is it that I want to change the behavior that I need to change. But I think one of the biggest things that memory does for us and the act of remembering does for us is that it gives us the ability to remain rooted in and to grow in our love for those that we care about. That's why it's so painful when something happens to our memory, when the ability to remember is impacted in one way or another. It's painful when some aspect of our memory or the act of being able to remember is impacted. And that brings us to why we're even here today. The reason we're here today is because each of us desires to bring a memory of someone we loved back into focus. Each of us wants to take intentional steps to carry some aspect of who that person was ahead with us into our daily lives going forward. We don't want to forget. In fact, we can't forget, because if we do forget, we lose even more of ourselves than what was already lost in that casket, in that grave, or in that breeze that carried away their ashes. We're here because we want to refresh our memories. But what does it even mean when we say, I want to remember something? When we talk about keeping some memory alive of someone that we love, is there actually some way we can carry their presence with us into our day-to-day lives? Is it by listening to some songs that are moving? Is it by lighting a candle like we're going to do in a little bit? Is it by watching a slideshow with pictures of those we loved, of good times we had together? Well, I think that's part of it, but if we stop there, we're going to miss the opportunity to allow that memory to take root in our lives and to allow that person to continue to live through us in the fullness of the way they could have. As humans, as we were talking about, memory and remembering is rooted in who we are as humans. As humans, psychologically speaking, in order to remember, you have to act. There has to be some action connected to the remembering process. So whether it's the mundane daily details or whether it's self-protection, there's some action that we plan on taking. We say, I'm going to remember to take my pills today. And I'm sure the nurses here would approve of that and appreciate that. But it's because we intend on acting and remembering to take our pills. We say we're going to brush our teeth later today because we actually intend on getting in front of the sink, in front of the mirror, and brushing our teeth. When a husband and a wife talk about the need to remember their wedding anniversary, we surely hope that they actually are going to do something around that time frame to remember what their wedding commemorated. So when we gather here today to remember our loved ones, what we're trying to do is remember those things of who they were that made our worlds a brighter place because they chose to act in love towards us. But we're not simply calling the memory to mind for mind's sake so that it can stay up here, because actually if that's all we do, the memory will fade. They will truly die at the grave. There will be nothing that we can bring with us of who they were. We remember who they were because we want to think of specific things about them that we can carry ahead with us into the now. So as we read these names, as we light these candles, as we view these pictures, we're hoping to create a space so that you can remember specific attributes of who they were. Maybe it's words that they said that are on your lips, that you remember them speaking in love towards you. Maybe it's just the quietness of their presence. But we want to take what they did to make a brighter world for us and make brighter worlds for those we come in contact with. So that when the thought of mom, when the thought of dad, when the thought of sister, and when the thought of brother comes into our minds, we begin to create better worlds for those who call us mom, dad, brother, and sister.